the instantly recognizable scary theme music from the film Uttama Villain. It's made of nonsense words or gibberish, right? What if I told you that it's not actually random nonsense? In this episode, you'll be amazed to discover how much strategy goes into making that piece of gibberish. Welcome to the Haasan's channel. I'm Sukrish. In order to truly appreciate creativity, we need to look at the project starting from a blank slate like the creators had in the beginning. In this case, this movie is about a movie star who gets diagnosed with a brain tumor and he knows he's going to die soon. Every time he gets scary symptoms, he feels panicked and he's praying and he has the urge to fight death. So basically, we need scary music whenever his symptoms appear. If this is all that the team conveyed to the composer, it's almost like handing him a big blank slate and saying, compose whatever scary theme you want. It might seem like giving a lot of creative freedom, but it comes with a risk. As a team, you might end up with some generic sounding scary theme music like this. So this is why it's good for a creative team to give themselves more criteria to fulfill and turn that big blank slate of freedom into a smaller, more restrictive circle. So this is where the writer Kamal Hassan steps in and he says, according to the screenplay, the Mrityunjaya chant must be heard whenever it seems like death is coming to get him. As a composer, I now know that there is a chant to represent the anti-death side. Things like chemotherapy and prayers from friends and family form the anti-death side. And this chant must happen against something, right? The death side. So what if the death side also had a chant? This is an idea that I can put forth as a composer. If you had two opposing chants, it would create some tension and interest in the composition for the audience. How do you create this chant to represent death? Let's take inspiration from the sports world. If you're watching a nail-biting match, why is it nail-biting? Both the teams are equally skilled, they're playing equally well. That's when you get that nail-biting emotion. Similarly, the death chant should be quite equivalent to the Mrityunjaya chant. That's when you'll get an interesting composition. How do you write gibberish for the death chant? This is the suai or core beauty of this composition. Carefully crafted equivalent gibberish. Here's how the gibberish was made. First, let's look at the structure of the Mrityunjaya chant. Mrityunjaya jaya jaya. Mr is a short sound. Then you have ut, which is a complete stop of breath and sound. So try saying ut. There's no air coming out, and so there's no sound coming out. Until you release with you, there's no air coming out. So these are complete breath stops. Then you have you, which is another short sound. Then you have n. N is a partially closed sound. Even though it's sort of closed, the air is still coming out of your nose. If you try saying n and you place your finger near your nose, you can feel the air coming out. In fact, that's why you're able to hear any sound at all. If there's no air coming out, there's no sound coming out. There goes the sound. So, n is a partially closed sound where the air can still come out. So the shape of mrityun is short, complete breath stop, short, partially closed sound. Then you have ja, ya, ja, ya, ja, ya. That is short, 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 short. The gibberish should be made with the same structure, but it should not be perfectly rhyming. Now let's look at the gibberish that they made up. So the first ak is a short sound. Then you have ak, ak, ak. There's no air coming out, no sound coming out. So it's a complete stoppage of breath and sound. And then you have ku, which is another short sound. Then you have So the is actually a partially closed sound. Even though your lips are closed, there's still air coming out, which is why you're able to hear the sound. The shape of kum is short, complete breath stop, short, partially closed sound. And then you have ba ga ba ga ba ga, which is short, 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 short. So it's a perfect match against Mrityunjaya, and in this manner they've built an equivalent gibberish word. So now it feels like two worthy opponents are fighting this fight, the prayer against the forces of death. Composer Gibran has actually overlapped the baga 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 sound over the jaya 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 sound. If you put on your headphones, you can hear this clip that I'm about to play very clearly. If it had been a perfectly rhyming chant like bityun baya 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 baya, that won't work because they start sounding too similar and they will sound like a chorus singing together rather than like enemies. So now it really sounds like a battle between the forces of death versus the forces of prayer. It is possible that this team wrote the gibberish spontaneously, like a burst. But what we saw here was a slow motion look at all the steps that must spark in their minds for such a burst to happen. See you on another episode. Check out other videos on this channel and don't forget to subscribe.